This the War Report, coming live every Tuesday at 7 with Steve, Cat, Ryan, Amanda, and Eric. And the voice of NEW, Vince Berry. Hitting all the topics like a clothesline flurry. Turn up your speakers and hear them out. You can listen from your car, even on your couch. They too raw, who NXT? Handing out SmackDowns, follow on IG. Plus, it's sponsored by Tag Me a Date. Go to YouTube and sub now for every update. It's all wrestling here, no safe space. Now listen in, time to hear from some of the greats. Extreme Championship.
Welcome everybody to another edition of the War Report After Dark. Paul fucking Heyman is back, ladies and gentlemen. We got a lot to cover as we approach War Games and Survivor Series. We got a full panel, so we gotta jump right into it. How's everybody doing?
Fucking amazing.
Somebody's echoing real good. Interesting.
Is it me?
I don't think so. It might be Mitch.
Yeah.
All right. So
well, I'm feeling great now that you asked us. I'm feeling great. Having a full cast.
Right?
Friday before.
You know what?
Exciting.
When something big happens, like the return of Paul Heyman, how do you not have a full panel? We may even have a surprise drop at some point tonight. And if it happens, you'll know about it when it happens. But we do have a lot to cover. But of course, before we can get into it heavy, as usual, David Rosca. We're on fucking loop. All right, well, that was annoying. David Rosca. Nadia Comaneci is the original Trish Stratus of the women's gymnastics, and why? Okay, we know that. I love you, man, but that point has been drilled home. However, why not Cody Rhodes, Kevin Owens at Survivor Series for the title? Now, that's a great fucking question, and we will definitely get into that as we go on in the show. Autumn, Zoe Stark for women's IC title. You are now banned. And we have Tara. Hi. Oh, my God. That made me so happy. I think I levitated Ghostbuster style. Yeah, well, that seems to be the common thing. So last week, we kind of jumped around all over the place, and we are going to do the same. Although a lot of what we're going to talk about, I guess, really did happen on SmackDown. But we got to get right to it because there's so many questions still, which is just continuing to make this storyline so great. But we get what we've been saying. That, here we go. We got Vince on too. Vince, welcome to the show, my friend. So we're going right into it, and we're going right into, what's up, man? We're going right into the main event of SmackDown. So you have the Bloodline and the OG Bloodline in the ring, and just as Roman's about to speak, we hear one of the greatest voices ever in professional wrestling, Paul Heyman. And he comes out and he does his thing, and you could see how happy he was. That crowd was electric, as it should be. His promo, as usual, was great. And then when I thought I was going to hear Brock Lesnar's music, we got CM Punk, and I'm not mad at it. So we have a lot to dissect. I want to start with this, and then we will go around the room. So we kind of have some order in here today. But I want to start with the attire. that Paul Heyman was wearing. Now, we could be overthinking this and we could be looking too deep. However, one thing I did notice is that we didn't have a traditional full-suited Paul Heyman. We had a Paul Heyman that was dressing like Solo Sikoa. With the red hanky, the red shirt, and the jacket. So I want to start with this. Do we think Heyman is setting up Roman Reigns? And does this really mean anything? But I just want to go on record. Heyman looked fucking awesome either way. So, Kat, we will start with you and we'll go around the room. What's your take with the attire?
So the attire definitely gave me some weird vibes. And then the other odd part was the wink he gave to the Usos. And when he was standing there.
Cat froze. Right. Eric, while we're waiting for Cat to unfreeze, go ahead.
Oh, man. Can you ever really trust Paul Heyman? I guess is the question. You know, as far as what I want, I don't want Heyman to be turning. Could it happen? Yes.
I feel like the chances of it happening are more than not. And that's just because of who Heyman is and how, you know, with Heyman, if he's not, if he's
didn't they
thinking,
put him through a table?
They put him through a table at Madison Square Garden, but it's not like we haven't seen this before. But and it's not to say that he's going to go with the bloodline. Maybe he runs off with CM Punk because he sees him as the future champion and not Roman. And Paul always likes to associate himself with who he thinks is going to be the main event guy, the champion.
And don't forget the cell phone thing the week before where Roman Reigns couldn't get him on the phone.
Right. And if I'm Paul Heyman, where were you, Roman? Where were you when they tortured me and then put me through a table at Madison Square Garden? So
and when I asked CM Punk to take me with you, CM Punk was the one that was taking care of him.
An original Paul Heyman guy.
But did he, though? Because where was CM Punk when that happened?
On the injured list.
Was it?
Oh, that's right. He was taken out, right? He was out.
He wasn't injured at that point.
Yes, he was.
He was going through Drew McIntyre stuff.
Yeah,
he wasn't injured.
No, but didn't they delay that
during that?
I think he was. Yeah, I think he was, and that's why it was so delayed. And that's why the whole fucking story went a year long.
Correct.
But, all right. So, Vince, what's your take on the attire? Do you think it means anything?
It could, now that you're saying it. Because here's the deal. Traditionally in wrestling, the heels have a manager, either to get heat on them or because they need somebody to cut a promo and heat for them or whatever. And usually a babyface faction doesn't have a manager because the babyfaces don't really need a manager. So it's very possible, now that you've floated that idea out, I just think, for the moment, having him back with the bloodline, you get that moment and all that. Punk is an interesting choice. Brock would have been variant. Brock was a more intriguing choice only because we haven't seen him in a while. And how would Brock's history with Roman, how would that go? And not that Punk and Roman don't have a history, but it feels like they're doing and Ryan would understand this, Poochie from The Simpsons, where it's like CM Punk is just in every fucking angle now. And they're like, when Poochie's not on screen, we have to ask, where's Poochie? And it's like, where's Punk? I get it. He's back. He's popular, all this shit. But like, to me, and it's fine for what it is. And it's a good choice if you can't get Brock. But I think Brock, with the years-long feud that Roman and Brock had, the tension and the ability for like the promos between him and Heyman and them Heyman trying to calm both of those guys down, that would have been interesting. So we'll just have to see where they're going with Roman and Punk. How are they going to interact?
See, I understand what you're saying, but on the other side, I look at it as let me say this first. I would have been much happier if Brock Lesnar was the one. I'm with you that 100%. I'm not mad at the Punk choice though, because in a way it does make sense.
Yes, right.
You know, because he is a Heyman guy and he'll do anything for Paul. And
Well,
he
the
made it a
Shield-
point. He made it a point to mouth to Roman during that segment, "I'm here because of Paul, not you." So, you know, he did what Heyman asked of him to do.
Can I
Right.
interject one more thing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Brock was part of fighting with with Roman and everything during the whole Bloodline thing. CM Punk was in AEW the whole Bloodline thing. So when you're talking nobody wants to work with you because of who we were back then, it makes perfect sense for it to be CM Punk because he was never involved in it.
I see.
Good point.
That is a good
He's
point.
never there. So he's never been burned by the Bloodline like everyone else has.
Well, right, that's true. Ryan loves the Poochie dog reference.
Oh, good.
Mitch, what was your take on the attire?
Can't hear
Mitch,
them.
we can't hear you, brother. Is your mic muted?
You look like you were making a good point.
I know.
Even my reading skills can't pick that up.
I didn't
All right.
try.
Well, Mitch is working on that. Al, what do you think?
I mean, to Eric's point, I don't want to see the bloodline. Could you hear me all right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
To Eric's point, I don't want to see him go the other route, but then you have to at who Paul Heyman is. We were talking about it the other day, Steve, when we were together on Saturday, saying when I was telling you, I
You're cutting out.
persona, man. There's the winking to the Usos, the weird stare. It wasn't like that. I acknowledge you stare. It was like a more of a plotting stare that he was giving him. The way he was looking at CM Punk, he walked away with CM Punk, not with the Tribal Chief. So there's a lot of things into it that you like. I don't know. I see them getting past War Games. I don't see him influencing anything War Games. The only way I could see that could happen is that if CM Punk turns on the OG bloodline because of Paul Heyman, but again, I don't see it happening. It'll be interesting. It really is. But you open up the possibility in my eyes. Anything is possible, right? But I can't see it after they put him through the table. Is what
I mean, and again, and we talked about this last week too. What I want and what I think may happen are obviously two different things. I would
Right.
like to see a face run of the bloodline
And-
with their wise man. So, you know,
And with their honorary oath.
Yeah, the whole they have to be full strength.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sorry. My thing was buffering. And you can hear me now, right?
yeah.
Yeah, I truly believe that the whole dressing thing was more of a mocking him than anything else.
I
You
didn't
know,
think of
trying
that.
to play
That's
mind games with him. I think that's you can't put it more than that. And then he was just trying to match with his guys, you know, with the black and the red. But I think it was more of a mocking thing than honoring him.
That's one thing I actually didn't consider. That's very possible.
And let's not forget, though, the Seth Rollins factor. How pissed is he now that after he turned them down twice, now Punk, who he hates, is their guy, right?
I don't know.
Seth
don't
could
think that has anything to
could
do
end
with
up
it.
being.
Yeah,
the
I
one
don't-
that
I don't-
Yeah, I
cost
don't think
them
that
the
can make or break.
I don't.
It's
Yeah, I don't.
with Bronson Reed.
Like Seth made it very clear. There's no way in hell he would ever, work with Roman again. Whereas with Punk, again to Kat's point, he wasn't around for all those years, so he never experienced the lashing of the bloodline. So there's no, as far as Punk's concerned, it's him doing something for Paul.
Right, but
Because the
But I
last
don't
time
see
they
how
did-
Seth that would bother Seth because it's not like he wanted anything to do with it. You know what I mean?
no,
the
but
last time
I'm
that they
saying
were even in the WWE at the same time was when the Shield was still together.
I'm
Right.
saying basically Seth would feel like, okay, I understand that I said no to you twice, but anyone else, you could have picked anyone else, but you had to pick this guy. That's how
Yeah.
it would feel.
No,
Oh,
I
he's a
feel
Paul
like
Heyman guy, though.
I
He's
can
a
I
see
Paul
feel
it.
like
Heyman guy.
Seth could be a factor, and he could try
The,
to attack Punk during the match, or if he can get in, that is. But
Yeah, I can see that. I see that point too. But again, to what Al said too, but it would be expected that Paul, if he's going to be the one that brings out the fifth, it's got to be a Heyman guy.
Right.
You know,
for
so
sure.
the only two that you could think of are either Punk or
Brock
Brock.
or Punk, yeah.
Right. And I don't know why they didn't go with Brock unless they're just not ready. Maybe they're going to have him, if he is going to come back, because again, he is back up on the roster. Maybe he'll show up at the Royal Rumble at this point because you're so close to the Rumble that maybe they would just hold him off for that, and then it gives something for CM Punk to do. I don't know. But again, I'm not mad at that choice. I think it makes sense to a point, and I am excited for the match. Now we just have to wait and see. I watched an interview with Paul Heyman. He was at some kind of Q&A thing, and this was months ago. Everyone here had probably saw the clip on TikTok, but the question from the fan in the crowd was, when are you coming back to TV? So it was obviously after the table bump at Madison Square Garden. And he said, when I come back, there will be a reason. When I come back, it's going to be for another year or two of storyline. So when I come back, it'll be the right time. And he kind of just left it at that. Now's the right time. So you can expect whatever's happening right now to go on for another year or so. It's going to be great. I'm on board. Sign me up.
Now we're
Do you
only
know what-
in the bottom of the fifth.
Yeah, the only thing we need is to make sure Cody Rhodes doesn't get involved in this shit anymore.
Yeah, well, listen, right now he's not even wrestling at the show, and we'll get into that too. Tara, all I can think of is because of Brock's involvement with the McMahon scandal. I don't think it has anything to do with it, and I only say that because when the scandal first happened, they removed him from the roster. Now he's back on the roster. So that tells me that they're moving past it either way, and it's just a matter of when he's going to come back. I don't think if at this point.
He's been cleared of the scandal, though. They said there was no wrongdoing on his part. So,
Yeah, he
Yeah,
missed
he
the flight.
didn't do it. He wasn't involved aside from the fact that Vince tried to
so
get
what?
that
The
girl
dude
to
got
hang.
laid. Big deal.
But he did.
Listen,
he didn't. Though.
he didn't
That
get
was
on the
whole
plane.
thing. Brock didn't take.
Exactly.
Yeah,
he
Brock
didn't
didn't
get
do it.
laid. Big deal. That's what I'm saying. He didn't get laid.
So
Yeah, I think he. Brock's a smart man, and I think Sable would kick his ass. So.
I was just going to say, with Janelle Grant, Sable, is there really a competition?
So now I have a
Even
question.
60-year-old Sable. Go ahead.
I have a question.
Huh.
Why are we not pulling the trigger on Cody Kevin for the title at one of our big four at Survivor Series? I understand that you're trying to make Saturday night's main event a big deal because it's kind of like the rebirth of it. So I get it. But this is one of your big four. How do you not have that match at that show? Even if it ends in shenanigans so that it carries over to Saturday night's main event. You know what I mean? So I wanted everyone's take on that. Vince, let's start with you this time. What do you think about that situation?
I mean, compared to old school Survivor Series, the champ would just be like the world champion would just be on a big babyface team like Hogan and Warrior, and those big guys against the big group of heels. But then as you move into the more modern era, you're used to the champions defending their titles on the bit, like you said, especially the big four pay-per-views. Brock Lesnar was kind of known at one point. There was a stretch in the mid 2010s where it was like Brock Lesnar's pay-per-view where you knew you were going to get a Brock Lesnar title defense that was going to be fun and it was going to be a good match. I don't particularly like that the champion's not defending his title. I hope that means that he's involved in some sort of maybe traditional Survivor Series match aside from the War Games. I don't know. I honestly, I think what I said all the way back when came true. They said we're going to put the belt on Cody, and then they had no fucking plan for after that, and they just don't have any challengers that are credible. Roman beat the shit out of everybody, so there's really no other contenders left, and now it's just Cody kind of standing there by himself looking around. Like, I don't know. There's Orton, there's Owens, and then there's everybody else is a fucking tier below.
Yeah, it is a tough spot. Watch, just to piss you off, they're gonna take out CM Punk prior to the match, and Cody's gonna wind up replacing.
Oh my God, could you imagine? And it's gonna be Seth. Seth will run in and slam the door on Punk's shoulder or something, and then Cody comes out with his dog and his skull helmet and his wife and QT Marshall and Diamond Dallas Page and the
All right, this is not AEW, sir. This is not.
He has the Blue Angels fly over the stadium,
Yeah. All right. So I also want to bring this up too.
Well, can I ask one question?
You sure?
Correct me if I'm wrong. With the exception of Damian Priest and Gunther, there's no other title matches this Saturday night, though. Every other champion is involved in War Games.
I believe you're correct.
There's no women. There's not a lot of title matches on this card to begin with. They weren't showcasing the show as a title card. It's like kind of like what he said, old school, where if there was a title shot, it was like when Hulk Hogan took on The Undertaker in the Gravest Challenge. There's no big title shot except for the one. Nothing
I
else.
heard they added Nakamura versus LA
They did.
Knight.
They did.
Oh yeah,
they added that match.
No apologies. Like I said, there's no other real major title defenses.
Which
Everyone else.
I'm going to say right now, if Shinsuke Nakamura does not win that match, he's dead on arrival. I mean, enough is enough. You're repackaging him now. He's more vicious than ever. He better win that fucking match. As much as I love LA Knight, and I think he's having a solid run, Shinsuke better win that match.
Yep.
With his black pajamas.
Yeah. Well, and some face paint.
Yes, that's right.
I wanna ask this question too, because I'm trying to figure this out. I watched all of Raw, and I only blew through the commercials, right? When did I miss the announcement of the Women's Intercontinental Championship? Did that air before they went live?
Top of the show.
But I watched the opening. How the fuck did I miss it?
I don't know, but it was literally what opened the show.
Were you skipping commercials and then?
I must have. All right, well. We have a new Women's Intercontinental Championship. And by the way, it's gorgeous. I think it's beautiful.
You put that white strap on any of the belts and they automatically look good.
Yes, that's true too.
All we need is
Very
another
true.
consolation prize. Come on.
What?
It's a weird belt. It's a weird belt, man. I agree. It's kind of a
There's
weird.
too many belts. It's ridiculous.
I don't think so.
It's a participation trophy.
Why can't the women have the same type of belts as the men?
Boosh.
It's a participation trophy. Not everyone can be champion, and that's okay.
So the women shouldn't be able to have an Intercontinental Champion and a U.S. Champion like the men?
Oh,
I don't
you're
even
You have
think
a
that
lot.
there's two
I
women's
believe there's a
champions
lot
to
of
begin
women
with.
talent. There's a lot.
A lot of
talent.
women.
There's more. There's a lot more now.
You're spending
Yeah,
the
well,
weekend.
that's why they
and
introduced
it's
them
so
now.
lightly with what you say.
To me, it just proves that they don't know how to make a good, compelling story with women that does not involve a championship.
That's not true. I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that at all. I think the storyline with the women,
Come on, every
for the most
single
part, have
thing
been great.
Charlotte's in is always in.
Charlotte hasn't even been around in almost a year.
I know, but I'm just saying, like everything in the
Thank
past.
God for that.
At all, with any of these women.
I don't know. That's a tough one for me. I don't know. I think I think the women should have the same types of opportunities title-wise as the men. So I personally don't see anything wrong with it. And I think it's another way for somebody like Chelsea Green, who I think, by the way, I think is winning this IC title. And I am
that's
all
very
for it.
Yep.
She got the crowd
Chelsea,
behind her.
she's got. Did you hear that? The crowd was behind her for the first time, and I just everything she has done with this Karen character, I think, has been great, and she deserves that title because she has made the most of every opportunity she's been given, and she's getting TV time every single week. So, go ahead.
You know what I love about it too is that the way she's almost like she's campaigning for it, right, to be her, and I really hope it is.
Yeah.
It reminds me of the first time EC3 won the TNA championship. He was like EC3 for TNA World Champion, and he was campaigning and doing that shit.
I remember that. That was great.
Also, a great opportunity with both of those belts too, with the IC for the women and the U.S. Championship. That if Tiffany Stratton does not cash in on the women's Money in the Bank for the championship, she still has an opportunity to bank gold.
Oh, that's interesting.
I'd rather her win the main title.
I happen to agree. I agree.
But with the Nia Jax and with the Liv Morgan thing going on, she might not get that opportunity, but she can cash in on any one of those belts.
Well, we said, Alan, so Al and I, last week, we were talking about some theories. One that I proposed is, what if right after the War Games women's match ends, assuming that Team Bianca's gonna, or Rhea is gonna win, which I do think, Tiffy cashes in on Nia right after the War Games match and leaves as champion. Al brought up another scenario that is very interesting, but I don't know if they would do it, where they would have a match within the match. Like halfway into the War Games match, Tiffy runs down with a referee of her own.
Oh, crazy.
Right? Which would be very different.
Oh, Lord, yeah.
I just don't think they would do it, but it's very different. You do have two rings, so you can have that going on in one ring while the other ones are killing each other in the other one. It's a great concept, but...
Wow.
And then once in a while, she'll catch a straight hand from somebody else out of nowhere.
Right.
But they can't pin her because it's just a one-on-one match inside a match.
Right.
That would be great.
Yeah,
it definitely would be different. It would be different. So we'll have to see. But there are things they could do. Huh?
I said they were trying to do that last year with Damian Priest until Randy Orton returned. Rhea came out with Damian's belt to have him do that. And it never happened.
Yeah. Tara, I feel this is the first time the female talent are equal to the male talent, so they deserve it. I happen to agree. The women, like Pierce in his speech, which I honestly think was very accurate. The true workhorses of the WWE right now is that women's division. Yeah. So, look at everything Liv has been able to do in Rhea and Chelsea, and Mia Yim is starting to get wins. And, there's just a lot of good things going. What?
Even Piper Niven.
Absolutely. I do want to ask this question, and still on the topic of the women. Who do we think did it? Who put
Bianca.
Jade Cargill into the car? I
did
thought...
it for the Rock. I did it for the people.
Oh, shut up, you thong-wearing fatty.
I believe it was Charlotte.
Ooh.
Bianca. It's Bianca.
I truly believe it was Charlotte Flair. I think we'll see her one of these days, very soon.
Ooh.
And she will come out saying she did it.
Ooh. And would make sense because if Tiffy cashes in, she's an instant face against a heel Charlotte, which could be interesting.
Or you could have Charlotte and this girl, since she's going to be out a significant time, in WrestleMania.
So I want to go back to the Bianca theory. Here's my question to that. A, are we ready for a heel Bianca? And B, why would she do it if she's still currently tag team champions with her?
She didn't want to be her partner.
Exactly. Yep. She wants to be a singles person.
She can't stand her.
Right, she's carrying dead weight.
So she
The
put her
Mega
through a
Bitches
car?
Blade.
Yes.
But then she also took herself out of the U.S. title tournament as well.
No, how'd she do that?
Oh wait, no, never mind.
No,
No,
she
no,
was
no,
on
she
the
just-
tag team match in that, whatever, wasn't she?
Right. No,
Oh
I
no, yes
don't
she
know.
did. She was in the U.S. tournament and she walked out and Chelsea won. That's right.
Right. That's how Chelsea won the match because she stormed to the back to, cry and say
She
what
felt like
happened.
she had no choice
Well,
because
I mean,
of her partner.
So
with
we're
all-
ready for a heel Bianca?
Hell yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, listen, not for nothing. It looks like the Profits are going heel again, which means you can always put her with the Profits too.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
Tara says, I
never
think it was
forever.
Bianca, but I don't want it to be her because I want Jade to be the one to go heel.
We've seen a heel Jade though before. We've never seen
I
a
think
heel.
that's people are expecting that, so
I agree with
they're
Eric.
turning it around.
Yeah, I agree with Eric on that. But we also have to remember this too. The reason why this happened, regardless of who did it, who's turning or not, is because Jade does have some injury that
Yes.
is keeping her out. So they did have to write her off.
Until like February.
I mean, they're saying there's no timetable. Do we know exactly what it is?
They said best case is three months.
Right, best case is 3 months. No, I haven't heard exactly what the specific injury.
Yeah, the only rumors I'm hearing is it's her knee.
Well, that's
Okay.
that's more of a reason why I believe it's somebody that isn't even here yet. Because long
Like
story, the long story game, right? Like she pops up in February looking for who did it. She's looking for all the wrong people, and then boom, one day she might be teaming up with Charlotte, and Charlotte hits her after they win a tag team match or something, and comes out and being like, "I'm the one that put you out." Blah blah whatever. You're trying to be the new queen, and no, I'm the only queen in this place, and boom, WrestleMania match.
That's a good theory.
I do like that. I do
But
like
now,
that.
what's going to happen with the tag team titles though, with her being out that long? Because now Bianca's probably going to have to surrender.
I mean, listen,
She might have to surrender.
she should have to relinquish the titles, and they'll have to do some kind of tag team
Yeah, do a
tournament or
TLC.
tag
do a
team
battle.
turmoil match or something.
They could do a battle royale for her tag team partner.
Oh, that's true.
different.
Actually, well, and think about it. Who the fuck was it? There was a women's team. One of them got injured. Oh, it was Chelsea. She was tag team partners with somebody. They got hurt, so Piper became her
Well, no,
partner.
Piper punked her to be her partner. That was different.
Well, right. She
punked
says,
her
"I'm
into
your
the-
partner now," and grabbed the
Right.
other belt.
That's
but
different.
That's the deal when that happened. You're right.
who was she tag team champions with before Piper?
So was it Sonya Deville?
Was it?
I think
might
yeah,
have
because
been.
she got the knee injury.
Oh, you're
Yeah.
right. You're right. So, but I don't know. So there is a lot happening.
But okay, so picture this: at WrestleMania, you have Tiffany versus Charlotte for the title, and then a dream match in Jade versus Bianca as well. That's a hell of a card already.
Yeah, I mean, and Jade has been getting much, much better and more comfortable, but assuming she's ready at that point, I think that match could be huge, especially if it's a heel Bianca, which nobody's expecting.
Correct.
Everyone's expecting, if that team's to break, that it's going to be Jade.
turning to Bianca.
Right. So we'll have to see. More developments with Gunther and Damian Priest.
Going back.
And I want to say Gunther looked much better this week than last week, although Damian still got over in the end, which makes me feel even stronger than I did last week in saying I have no doubts that Gunther is retaining the title at War Games.
Correct.
Yes.
Yeah,
Definitely.
absolutely. He put him through a table. That's the rule, right?
Gave the
Whoever
Razor's edge.
wins the night before the event always ends up losing. So
Mhm.
I don't see it happening. Plus, they've made him look too bad. Can't make him look that bad and make him lose. Also, like it makes no
Yep.
sense.
I agree. Yeah, if he loses after just getting dominated, then the aura of Gunther
might
is
kill-
like
You literally might kill the character of Gunther if you do that.
Well, listen, Damien even said it in his promo. He goes, "You're not the Gunther you were. Like you don't have the aura that you had, before. That kind of
He's
stuff."
going to
So,
remind him.
oh yeah,
Yep.
we're gonna have some heavy duty chops coming on Saturday.
Oh yeah.
So we have that. What else do we need to talk about? There's so many things. So Kofi and Xavier came to a head yet again this week,
Dude,
just in time for next week's celebration, which obviously is not going to be, not going to be much of a celebration. I do think we are going to get a surprise of Big E. And
Yeah.
he's going to try and mediate and bring them back together.
Yeah.
But in the end, I think Xavier is going to make his official full-blown heel turn, and we are now going to have an Xavier Kofi feud.
is there a problem with the New Day?
I don't
don't
think
think
so. So,
They
They
drag out Brutus for that too.
they definitely. I mean,
Window when you need one.
the best part about this is the slow brew, right? Like look, the characters that they wear. If you always notice, they always wear similar characters, but one is a heel and one is a face. Out of every character they wear, even last week, right, with the whole Goku Black and regular Goku. So they tease it for you and they put it there. But what I loved about last week is that they probably had to apologize to one another after they cut that promo because how
They went
personal
deep.
they went. Oh my God, they paper cuts to the bone.
oh
they
yeah,
they were deep in those conversations. They went at each other.
they
They
really
literally
did.
told each other all each other's flaws, and it was good. It was very very good. Can't wait till Monday.
Yeah, I'm a huge Xavier Woods fan, but I did not even know he had that in him until he pulled that out of his ass last night.
I love when he told them, "Oh, finally, you'll get mad." Pretty much telling him like he's always too happy go lucky.
Yep, exactly. And
I
that's
think my favorite line was, we handed you Kofi Mania on a silver platter, and you pissed it away in 6 seconds to Brock Lesnar.
Yo,
Oh,
Which
was great.
which were facts.
yeah.
yeah. But that's just rough. That's a rough one.
But Kofi had his own,
Well,
zinger, too.
Coffee killed him. I mean, he told him a lot, but when he pretty much told him, it's like, you will never be a world champion simply
You're not
because
good
you're
enough.
not good enough.
Yeah.
Like, woo. That
Now,
was like,
see,
oh,
everyone's expecting Xavier to be the one that turns, but could they swerve us and have Kofi be the one?
They could.
Or would you
they very.
rather-
I
What is your preference? Is it Xavier turning?
To be quite honest, I could give a shit less. It doesn't matter to me which one turns. But what I will say, I'm just being honest. But what I do think is that Xavier makes the most sense because he's the one that's been acting up the last number of weeks. So it just makes sense. But for shock value, I would be shocked if it was Kofi. You know what I mean?
Now, did his problem start with the Odyssey Jones thing, or did it start before?
It was
that?
That's
before
when
that.
he started acting weird
Right,
with the
that's
Odyssey
when he
Jones
was, like,
thing.
starting to be like,
Yeah, but there was a little bit of tension before Odyssey Jones, right? There was 1 or 2 weeks of like, something's not quite right, and then
Was it like
hey, here's the
unwritten
new guy.
resentment?
The Testament kept talking to Xavier Woods.
What was that, Kat?
I said that's because before Odyssey Jones, the Final Testament kept talking to Xavier Woods, trying to get in Xavier Woods' head. Then Odyssey Jones
Yes.
showed him, and
Oh,
that
right.
exacerbated it.
It was
Right.
all the fault of the Final Testament.
They're
Well-
the ones that
Gideon Cross.
Since we have mentioned said Final Testament, we should also bring up the fact that Scarlett got scared shitless this
Oh,
week
man.
with Nikki Cross. And obviously, we don't know exactly what took place. We just got that quick little glimpse, but it's like the perfect horror movie because
Yeah.
you just see the aftermath and she's like freaking out, like she's been spooked to shit, which is funny because she does these scary things with Shotzi on YouTube,
Right.
where they go to like all these like, places that are haunted and all this other shit. So it's funny that she was spooked that much, but any event, she's gorgeous
That's
and
a
I can
good
watch her all
thing,
day
though.
long. Yes.
But think about that though. If you know that they're doing this YouTube stuff with the ghosts, and then she gets spooked, you're like, oh man, she could go to a haunted like old prison or something. But Nikki Cross must have done something bad to scare somebody who's that used to the paranormal.
Yeah. You're right.
And it is like a good horror movie where you don't see it. They let your mind fill in the blanks.
All I know is it's much better than when Hogan saw Warrior in the mirror in the dressing room.
And Warrior's there, and fucking Bischoff is like, Hogan, I don't see it. Hogan, what are you saying? There's nobody in the mirror. It's like, Eric, come on, man.
There are some things in professional wrestling I'd like to forget. That was definitely one of them.
Right.
Well, there's a lot of things in pro wrestling that we would love to forget.
Oh boy.
And there's many that come to mind, but we don't have enough time to get into them all because there's that many. But overall, I think War Games is setting up to be a great show. Not thrilled that it's starting at 6, so I'm going to have to watch it late. I'm just hoping that it doesn't cut me off at the end if something huge happens, like when CM Punk returned, and I missed it, and I had to watch it in TikTok because my thing, well, it's whatever. So we have the men's War Games. Who do we think is going over? I'm going with OG Bloodline is winning this one.
Same.
Yes.
What was that, Eric?
I got to go with that too.
Vince?
I think so. I think so. The only thing that would change that is what we talked about earlier in the show. CM Punk turning heel, Seth Rollins interfering because he's not happy that Punk is involved, something like that.
Al?
But yeah, I'm leaning towards OG Blood.
All right, so I'm peeing against the wind. I'm gonna go with the Bloodline, man. These guys have been, if you look at it, what they've been selling us this whole time that they're a team, and the Bloodlines together. I don't know if they fixed all their problems yet. They have a fifth member that there's questions that has to be asked, and they have to have a one-on-one face-off on SmackDown, and we don't know how that's gonna go. So for me, if you look at a team, it's like you had 4 guys that worked very well together.
Yes.
That one of them ended up pinning Roman Reigns for the second time in like 3 years or something.
Their tribal chief.
Clean, mind you. And then not only that, they just got strong as hell with arguably pound for pound the strongest guy in the roster in Bronson Reed. So I just look at a unit
who fits
that's
in
together.
seamlessly, by the way.
So,
yes.
Oh, great.
I hope he remains with them going past War Games.
I read
because
that he probably
will.
It seems like it because he did acknowledge the one. He put the finger up. He came out with their music. So everything seems like this isn't a one and done.
So here's what I'm going to say. I think, which I'm very excited about this coming Friday, because we're going to get Jacob Fatu versus Jey Uso for the advantage in War Games, right? So here's how I look at it. If Jacob Fatu, which I believe is going to do this, if Jacob Fatu goes over on Jey, which I think is happening, then I think OG Bloodline wins at War Games. I think whichever team gets the advantage is going to lose.
Yeah, that's usually how it goes.
That is true.
So a lot of it will be dictated by Friday. Huh?
The heels get the advantage anyway a lot of times on these matches because then it's easier. You get 2-on-1, 3-on-2, whatever.
Right. That's true too.
Well, you just saying that if it's whoever team gets the advantage is normally the team that wins, then you're saying that Team Nia is going to win in the women's one because Bianca won last night.
That's very possible. I mean, you can't. You could have 2 babyface teams go over, but I feel like maybe one babyface team, one heel. Yeah.
I am only really hoping that Rhea's team wins because I really want to see Tiffy cash in. And I feel like that's the only way that's going to happen. Okay, so we have the 2 War Game matches. We have LA Knight versus Shinsuke. I'm obviously going with Shinsuke.
If Shinsuke doesn't win, I'm rioting.
I'll riot with you. Eric, what do you think?
It's a tough one, but you're right. They've come to a point with Shinsuke that if he doesn't win, he's DOA. So I think it's. I'm going with Shinsuke.
Vinnie Mac?
So you guys might pressure me into going Shinsuke because part of me is like, man, go with. I almost called him Eli Drake. Shit, LA Knight, because they haven't. Nothing recently has shown me that Shinsuke Nakamura has the juice anymore to win this title. So that's why I keep thinking about LA Knight retaining. But it makes more sense if you're bringing this guy back out. Face paint, new costume, all this stuff. He's more intense. He should absolutely win this match.
And I'm assuming he's going to have new music, which we haven't heard yet.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
So, all right. So
Usually
we're all
his
got
music's
Shinsuke.
good too.
Yeah, I love his music. All right. So what else we got? What else do we have?
Oh, the triple threat. Braun Breaker versus Sheamus versus Levi Kaiser.
Yes, Braun Breaker. So we mentioned last week they may do this and turn it into a triple threat, and we were right. Dave Roscoe over at YouTube thinks Ludwig Kaiser will be the next Intercontinental Champion. As much as I think there's potential for him to win, I don't see Braun having another short reign back to back. This is going to be a reign that I could see him being champion till WrestleMania at this point. What do you guys think?
I disagree.
How
You
long
disagree?
have you had it?
The Autumn said she disagrees. Yes.
Explain yourself.
I just can't stand Braun Breaker. I just can't stand
See,
him.
but that's your problem. You have to take your personal feelings out of it, Autumn. You have to be a professional. Your professional opinion.
But listen, I personally think that Braun Breaker's not ready to have a long title reign. He's just so. He's not
I think WWE would disagree with you because they just gave him the title back.
But they also took Jay Uso's weight off of him, and Jay Uso has been ready for freaking 4 years now. That pissed me off.
Listen, I'll tell you what. You can talk about Braun Breaker that way when you get to PC and you start running the ropes as fast as he does.
I ain't doing that. I'll do it. I will do it.
Yeah, I'm sure you would.
I'll beat the SH out of you.
Ooh.
Oh my god!
Don't sing it. Bring it. All right. Also, Tara thinks Ludwig is going to win. I honestly think Braun's keeping the title, but I am glad that they made it a triple threat. And she also thinks Shinsuke is going to go over on LA Knight. Are you guys all in opinion that Braun's keeping the title?
Yeah.
Okay.
He just won it so soon. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just you can't take it off him right now. What else we got? What am I missing?
Oh, Damien and Gunther?
We did that.
Okay, cool. No, that's not. Wait, so I don't have the main event. Cody Rhodes versus Kevin Owens.
I wonder if they're going to add a rematch for the tag titles and do the War Raiders versus Judgment Day again because there were shenanigans this week during that match.
Oh, maybe.
That'd be interesting.
I feel like if they're starting this thing at 6, they have to add more matches. I mean, figure
But
each War
is the
Games
show
match is
starting
probably
or
going to go
pre-show?
45 minutes. It says it's starting at 6 o'clock.
The
So I
main
don't know if
card
that's
starting at
pre-show
6
or if that's the main card.
Show starts at 4.
Okay. Oh, damn. All right.
Yeah. Pre-show starts at 4 o'clock. The
So pre-show
kickoff time.
starts at.
Yeah. Kickoff show for Survivor
Wow.
Series first match at 6 p.m.
The pre-shows, say that again. It's the pre-show at 6?
No, the pre-show's at 4.
Yeah, see, that's what I'm saying. So this thing's starting at 6,
Crazy.
which means they have to be adding stuff. If they're going to
Yeah.
drag this out, probably one of the big four, it's going to go till at least 11:30, right? I would imagine. I feel like
It
they're
might
always
only
longer.
go to 10.
Easy.
If it
because
starts at
these
6, it
War
might
Games
Oh,
only
that's
go
true. Maybe it'll end earlier. That's possible.
Right.
But what are we missing? Any other matches? I think that's it. Cody's not currently in a match. Kevin's obviously not in a match because he would be with Cody. Orton's out.
Yeah.
I think that's it. That's your card. I mean, it's still what they have It should be a great show. But I'm just more invested in the bloodline than anything else. That's what I'm looking to see. That's obviously going to be your main event. I can't imagine that not being the main event, especially if the world title's not on the line. So we're going to have to get through the whole thing to get to
Is it
that.
likely we're opening with the women's War Games?
Yes, I think so.
And
Because usually that's what they do. They open
Like
with one
bookend
and
it.
they close with one.
Right.
Yeah.
Book it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they're definitely not choosing the women over the men on this one.
No,
There's no way. Because, it's, and I said this, Al and I were talking about this last week. This women's War Games
thrown
match,
together.
it's right. It seems very thrown together. I would have rather seen that be a traditional Survivor Series match, elimination style, but then make it interesting. Like
Yeah.
the sole survivors down the line will have a fatal however many match to become number one contender for the women's title or something, and put some incentive to it.
Yeah.
But obviously it's a War Games, so they wanna just keep it War Games. But I don't love it. I mean, I'm not as invested obviously in that as much. I don't think it'll be a bad match. I think it'll be great.
Like
But-
it doesn't necessitate a War Games match because there's no story behind it and hatred like there is with the Bloodline thing.
Well, I mean, to be fair, you got Rhea and Liv, which is pretty personal and
okay.
heated, right? You got
That's-
Raquel, who's involved in that too now, so that kind of makes sense. Bianca's been feuding. She's been feuding heavy with Nia, so and a few. No, not Nia. Who the fuck has she been feuding with them? I don't even know. There's so many, but. Rhea, I think, and I think that's why Rhea kind of became the captain of the team, because the real meat and potatoes of that is Rhea and Liv.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, because even just like I said a month ago, Naya and Liv were going at it each other for the crown jewels. So it's
Right.
still is awkward. You're right.
I don't know what that was, but that was fucking hilarious.
That was my brother in the background. He just lost in an NBA game.
That's hilarious.
So once
So-
it wasn't my background noise.
So we're getting close to the top of the hour. Anybody have anything else that they want to bring up or talk about before we take it home?
This has nothing to do with anything, but it's just something I thought of. We really haven't talked about AEW in a long time.
We have it. That's true.
And this really has nothing to do with story purposes, but here's my thing. You know me in that I don't always, like every character, and I don't, connect with everyone, and I don't always understand the appeal of a certain person. However, though I may not understand why, I do appreciate the fact that if it is working, that's why they're doing it. So this brings me to this. How have they not put Orange Cassidy with Juice Robinson? Are you telling me they wouldn't sell out Team Orange Juice shirts like right off the bat?
I mean, that happens to be very
Come on, bro.
true.
I don't even like Orange Cassidy.
Eric was circling a fucking point. He was about to make a point, and then he goes, "Orange juice t-shirts." What?
No, but that's fucking hilarious. That's actually very funny. And you know
It is.
what? He's
It's
not
so
wrong.
good.
That T-shirt would sell out immediately.
Eric,
I-
Vince, don't play wrestling tease now.
That was great.
Yeah, it's a 5-hour tea special or whatever, man. That's a yeah.
Yeah. Well, and since Eric did bring up AEW and we have a few minutes, what's going on with Toni Storm? Is she retiring the character or is she retiring from AEW? Is it all shtick?
I think
Could
it's
we be
character.
getting the return of Toni Storm with this new character in WWE?
Well, Tony Khan said in the press conference after Full Gear. By the way, if you haven't watched Full Gear, worth a watch. It's a good pay-per-view. There's some really good matches. Will Ospreay and Kyle Fletcher killed it. There's a couple matches that really killed it. But anyway, in the post post-match press conference, they had Tony Khan out there for like half an hour after all the guys went up, and somebody specifically asked about Tony Storm, and the answer he said is, rumors of Tony Storm's demise have been greatly exaggerated. So I think what he's trying to let people in on is this retirement thing is part of the story. Because if you remember, what happened was she lost the title, and then she just started withering. She left Wembley. Like they had video of her leaving Wembley Stadium after the match and just walking out into traffic, basically. And then they started swearing the world as Tony Storm. There was like a little recap video about 2 or 3 weeks ago where they showed her leaving, and Tony Storm did the voiceover. She goes, "Tony Storm left Wembley Stadium, never to be seen again." Then she turned up in Australia, and then she wandered away, never to be seen again. And they did like 3 or 4 locations. She ended it with "never to be seen again" every time.
There's such brilliance
I think,
in all that.
I don't know. If
I will say this: they should never. She should never stop being this character.
And that's why
this character has made her everything.
Go. Yeah. They could have her, maybe she goes from the 1940s or whatever into like 1950s or 1960s, maybe updates what kind of films she's in. Instead of black and white, she's in like Technicolor films or something.
Oh, that would be amazing.
Evolve.
Right, she goes from black and white to color. Although I really like it when she's in the black and white.
Yep.
Oh, the black and white is so good.
It's so good. So good. Well, ladies and gentlemen, on that note, we have reached the top of the hour.
Woo.
I want to thank everybody for tuning in. You want to do it, Vince? Go ahead. Take it home.
I don't know. Am I on delay? I feel like because I'm on my cell service instead of Wi-Fi, I'm like a half a second behind on stuff. Is that
No,
accurate?
you're right on. No, you're right on.
Oh, good. All right, cool. So yeah, guys, just follow us on social media at TagMeADate, all one word, no spaces. That's Instagram and TikTok and Twitter/X, whatever you want to call it. Most social media platforms is at TagMeADate, including our YouTube page. So if you type TagMeADate into the search bar on YouTube, it'll bring our page up. Hit subscribe and then hit the bell to get alerts when we go live. Twitch is twitch.tv/War Report. The Facebook page is also TagMeADate, so give that a like or a follow as well. And we go live on most of those platforms Tuesday evenings at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. And we go live on Facebook Live. We are on Twitch, and then we are on YouTube Live as well. So if you have a question or a comment like Tara, you can throw it in, and you can join the conversation with us. And if you prefer the pre-recorded stuff, you can always go back to the archives and go to like the Twitch or the YouTube or the Facebook to watch the show after it's broadcast. But if you want to subscribe to an audio-only format of the podcast, you can go to your favorite podcast apps such as Stitcher, SoundCloud, Spotify, Google Play Podcast, Apple Podcast. Type in Tag Me, type in the War Report. You're going to see the podcast come up and hit subscribe. Ryan is nice enough to get the audio from this and then upload it to the podcast apps about an hour after the show goes off the air, maybe sooner. And you can just subscribe, and as soon as it's ready, it goes right to your phone. You can take it with you, and whatever you're doing throughout the day, driving or doing laundry, or you just need something to listen to, you can go hit us up on the podcast app instead of going to YouTube or Facebook. I think I hit everything, right? Tomorrow morning, 6 a.m., if you're in Connecticut or 99.1 FM. If you're not, WPLR.com, or ask your Alexa, play 90.1 WPLR. I'll be on there, which has a morning from 6 to 10. And thanks so much. Appreciate it. This is a season. Thanks to everybody celebrating on Thursday. Stay safe. Don't hand off with the turkey knife or anything like that. Don't do anything silly. And we will see you next week, next Tuesday at 9 p.m. for another War Report After Dark. Have a good one, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you.